Hey, welcome everyone. Today, more than ever, the world needs voices that speak change, ignite hope, and drive transformation. Change doesn't happen in isolation. It happens when individuals choose to step forward, speak up, and take bold action. Whether you're leading a global movement or making a difference in your own community, your voice has power. In this podcast, we aim to amplify those voices, share the journeys of resilience change makers, and inspire each of you to recognize your potential to impact the world. Let's create a ripple effect together. This message taps into the concept of collective empowerment and emphasizes the significance of individual contributions in driving social change. Welcome to another episode of The Other Side of Addiction. I'm your host, Al Richards. And today, man, I am honored to have two amazing people on the show. One of them just for a short time, and I'm just greatly appreciated that Thurl Bailey. Thank you so much for taking 5 minutes out of your busy schedule. You're in New York, and I know you got a lot of things to do. So thank you so much for just taking a few minutes to be here with us. Greatly appreciate it. And also, my good old friend Jordan. Man, was on the show probably like 2.5 years ago. So, Jordan, thank you for your time. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about connection, passion, and purpose, which I believe all three of us on this show right now have all three of those. We want to make a change. So, gentlemen, again, thank you for your time. Um, I'm just going to reach out to Thurl Bailey right now because I know he's got a short period of time. So, TB, again, thank you for just taking time out of your day here to be with us. Just greatly appreciated. And just really quickly, what got you into this? I mean, most people know you as a basketball player, retired basketball player with the Jazz. What got you into wanting to reach out there and start helping other individuals in the recovery community?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on the show, and I wish I had a lot more time to talk about some of the things that get me into things. And I'm hoping that most people know me from more than a basketball player. I know the old school folks know me from the old Jazz days, but um, I think as I look back on my life and the things I've tried to accomplish with the platform I have through sports, that I'm hopefully building a legacy that goes way beyond that. And I love your topic today. And let me just say that it just reminds me, and I'll try to tell the short version of this story. When I played basketball over in Italy for 4 years, I was in my 30s and maybe close to retiring from basketball, and I was going from where I lived in Como, Italy, going over to Lugano, Switzerland, and I go through the border. And I had done it many times, and I knew how to prepare for that trip because you had to stop at the border and answer three questions. And so the border patrol person would make you show your papers, your passport, and your visa, and they proceed to ask you three questions. And the first question was always, "Sir, where are you coming from?" And I'd answer that question and waited for the second one. The second one was always, "What's your purpose for being here today, sir?" I answer that one. And before they let me go across the border, they'd ask me the last question, which was, "Can you tell me your purpose for being here today?" So once I answered those, I had rite of passage to go over to Switzerland and do what I needed to do over there and then head back when I was done. One particular time, don't know what was going on that day exactly. I know I was at a crossroads in my life, but I got to the border and got asked those three questions, and I crossed over into Lugano, Switzerland. And about a kilometer or two down the road, I pulled my car over because those three questions probably hit me differently that day than they had any other day. And I went through each one. I went through, she asked me where I had come from and just reminded me of my past and how important my past was to where I was at that time. All the things I'd gone through, all the failures, all the successes just showed me how important our past is. And sometimes we don't want to revisit that because sometimes it's painful, but I always say that, you can never let go and forget your past. You learn from it. You learn the things that you've done well, the failures, the people you've connected with. And then I got to the second question, which was she asked me what my purpose was. Everybody has one. I couldn't figure out to save my life at that time what I was supposed to be doing with all I had. What was my real purpose? So I kind of came to the conclusion that that purpose, whatever it was going to be something to do with service, serving others. Because that's when I felt my best, not when I did things for myself, but when I did things for other people. And then lastly, she asked me where I was going. And for me, that meant what's my potential? What can I end up being in my life and leaving a great legacy? And I think that when I left that place that day, I just decided that I was going to revisit those three questions as often as I could, as kind of inventory, if you will. And basically decided that I was always going to revisit my past and the things I learned, my purpose, and then my potential. And so those are kind of the three things that I kind of live by, and a scoreboard, if you will, that I just go back and just make sure I'm on the right track. It's not always perfect, but I just have those reminders just to keep me in a place that, hopefully I'm doing the right things. So I really appreciate your topic and appreciate what Jordan's doing in that arena. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to use what I have, and I'm here to serve others, and I'm here to be the person that I believe that God wants me to be. And so that's the way I try to live.
Hmm. So beautiful.
Yeah, I tell you what, I was sitting here with goosebumps the whole time, and I could even feel tears kind of welling up in my eyes because a certain life thing happened to me as well. And hopefully, maybe down the road here, after the season's over, maybe we might be able to have another chance to talk and go through a whole show because I think there's a lot that we could go through on this. And coming from somebody who 15 years ago was told I was a liar and a manipulator and not believing it, and then sitting down with myself one day and finally realizing that person who told me that was 100% correct. And that wasn't the legacy I wanted to leave behind. And being a papa now of three amazing grandkids, and that it's like I want to leave something behind that makes them proud as well, and seeing this journey that I've been on the past 15 years and the individuals I've happened to meet, especially through the recovery community, has completely changed my life. And figuring out what your why is in life, right? I didn't know what my why was until I was 58 years of age, before my bell finally went off. And I love doing what I'm doing right now. And I'm so happy that you said this the way that you said it, Thurl, because oh man, see, I get emotional even thinking about it. Connecting those dots backwards to see where we're at today in our life is exactly where we're supposed to be as long as we're looking at it in the right way. And somebody asked me in one of my talks how I got started in this. And I says, I didn't get started. God put me in this. God put me on this path. And I have stick with that ever since because he's the one that has stuck me on this path. And I think he's the one that stuck all of us on this path to go out there and help other individuals get on their journey.
Yep. God works through people, and I'm just grateful, Thurl, that you've joined Diamond Detox and the service that you do and the brand that you live by in that service and integrity. We're just so grateful to have you a part of the team, and thank you for all you do in the community. And good luck today at the Jazz game in New York. Appreciate you stopping in.
Well, I appreciate you guys. And Jordan, I'm really grateful that, we've been brought together, just because there's so many people out there, obviously, that need help, and they don't know how to approach it. There's so many people, I, and I talk about this all the time, and there's not many of us who haven't been affected directly or indirectly from someone who has an addiction. And so I just appreciate being on your team. I'm coachable, so keep coaching me. And yeah, I'm on this jazz road trip until Christmas Eve, and then we touch down and leave again Christmas Day to finish the trip. So happy holidays to you both, and may you and your families just have a great holiday season.
Hey, love you, brother. Have
Thank
a
you,
great
Thurl, and thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Safe travels, my friend.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye. Wow, Jordan, thank you so much, man. That was awesome to have that quick visit with Thurl. I hope I have an opportunity down the road here when things settle down to have a whole show with him, because what he shared in just that short period of time, seriously, it was my energy over here on this other side was just beaming like crazy. It's like
so powerful,
no,
man.
we could
He's
go in so many directions right now.
so powerful. He's so genuine. He's so kind. He's true to his brand of service and giving and integrity. And I was just super excited to because you were kind of hoping I might be able to bring him, and wasn't sure if I was going to be able to. So told you what probably wasn't, and then I was like, I'm going to throw a curveball at Al today. I'm going to get Thurl popping in last minute here. So you didn't know until about 10, 15 minutes before the show.
I did not. So thank you so much. I tell you what, that was one hell of a Christmas present. That was one hell of a curveball. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah. So yeah, you tell me, where do you want to go from here? Because I do love that I've heard him say it one other time at one presentation he did up at Rising Ridge, and so cool. And you can take that different directions, right? So many ways with spiritual, where do we come from? What's our purpose and where are we going? I've felt that when he says that, I don't think he even has to take it to a spiritual place, but a lot of us probably do when we think deeper about that. But also it is just here on earth. What did we do previously in our life that got us to this point? The trials and the struggles and the successes, and what's our purpose? And then where are we headed? What are we doing and what are we leaving behind? It's just such a cool message that he shares.
Yeah. Yeah. And with him saying, he loves what the topic is today about the connection, passion, and purpose, and it seems like with all three of us that was just on somewhere along our life, we connected with something. And then you and I was talking about it before we actually started taping, and we end up catching the bug, right? It becomes a passion. And then we start realizing that passion just leads to a whole new purpose. And it takes us in so many different directions that I don't think either one of us ever saw coming in our lives. I mean, you're getting ready to open up something amazing and you're working on so many different things. And I mean, would you have seen this in your life 4 years ago?
Maybe four,
Okay.
uh, not 14 years ago, and through at least half my life for sure not. But I have been kind of dreaming a lot of these things up for quite a while. But absolutely not from a long time ago. I would never have saw myself working in this field. I never would have saw myself being addicted to anything either. So clear back in junior high, high school, never would have saw that coming. And then just out of high school after knee surgeries and getting, chemically dependent and then becoming addicted and homeless and all the horrible things that happen and then going to treatment. But then in treatment, I started drawing out the plans, in treatment. And then the first year of Diamond Tree had the 10-year vision, and a lot of these pieces were a part of it. And so that's fun for me, right? That's the creativity, the bringing things to fruition, is just so cool. And I've got a whiteboard next to me that project up north had a couple people tell me I was crazy, and I just let it sit here. Like I had a day, I remember my Apple Watch alerted me that my heart rate was getting too high, but it was just because I was feeling so inspired that day, and it was all coming together, and I felt it, and I watched things at me. I know, we're fine. Like I was just so excited, and it's just been sitting there, and just to see it slowly come together is just so fun. It's so cool. And Big T was on that board up there, the top right corner, before he was a part of the team. And so having him there and knowing got him on the team now, and it's just so beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, and I'm excited. But back to the connection, passion, and purpose. In the recovery world, I feel like, that connection piece, people that know me from the Diamond Tree days of the whole model of Diamond Tree and how it comes together, connection is that oxytocin, and so when they say connection is the opposite of addiction, we need someone to reach out and give us some love, just connect with us, give us a hug. And that oxytocin can help really fill and suffice whatever neurochemistry imbalance or deficiency we have. Most of us do have, reward deficiency going on. And so I specialize in that. I love getting people the right amino acids and nutrition to balance the brain. But really, that connection that you give people in AA or whatever it is, that you can just put your arm around somebody and give them a brotherhood with the ranch, whatever it is, gives them that warm feeling of like, oh, okay, like I'm okay. And with nutrition and other things, you can have that sustained without having to have someone there all the time. But it's so important. And once you can get that feeling and get a little bit of the lifestyle, a little bit of a good healthy routine, a little bit of the nutrition, a little bit of time away from the drug, then you have the fortitude to actually have passion again, right? You've seen that with people in recovery. When they're using, are they out hiking? Are they out playing sports? Are they doing the things they love and their passions and hobbies? No. They're just, they get addicted and they get down. And so once you have a little bit of that time, you can start having those passions again. And then, like you said, sometimes you get passionate about something that's a meaningful purpose, like we're doing, and helping people. To me, just like Thurl was saying, there was some point that it just always makes you feel good. And every counseling group I've done, every one-on-one session I've done, almost everyone I've met, I ask them, when you help somebody take a load off for somebody, whether it was you shoveled their walk for them, helped them with something, did you feel good? And their answer, if they're human and they're not, an antisocial, something's wrong with their brain, right? There's a few people, like, they're an exception, but outside of that, like everyone's like, yeah, it feels good. And so service is such a huge part for people, and usually that becomes some meaningful purpose in someone's life of giving of service. And so I'm just grateful to be in a position that we persevered for the last 7, 8 years, with the treatment industry being a very tumultuous industry, and through COVID and everything, and now we're the other side of starting to just grow things that are more community-based, service-based, and still trying to help people in whatever way we can get out of the addictions and afflictions and depressions that people struggle with. And so just super grateful. I'm in like this last month or two has just been so cool, to see, like you said, what God's plan of putting people in my path has been, when I'm doing the right things for the right reasons, people just come and people just fall into place. And I'm so grateful for all the people, because there's no way I'm able to do what I'm doing without really good people throughout, and people in the past that have helped me, people that are here now, and the people that will join me in the future. Just super, super grateful. So
Yeah. And with you saying that, Jordan, I was speaking with somebody a week ago. Um, he was saying that he met someone who was a self-made millionaire. And I said, I don't, my version is there's no such thing as a self-made millionaire,
yeah,
because he didn't do it alone, or whoever this person was, he or she, they didn't do it alone, because it takes so many other people to bring everything together, and again, as being a spiritual person, even this journey that I've been on, and this podcast is coming up on 4 years in March, which I'm just still just completely shocked that we've been going this long, even after losing the studio, and I'm like, I'm not going to stop. I'll just do it through Zoom. I don't need a studio. We'll make it work. And even how all that came into play, it's almost like God was putting the right chess pieces in front of me every single time. And I share the story because you was talking about service. After I lost my job of 24 years and not knowing the direction I wanted to go, I remember hearing something, or even maybe back when I was active in the church, of saying, that when you give back to others, God gives to you. And I was like, still being that selfish person that I was, in the wrong type of selfishness. I'm like, oh, okay. So I started doing things. I started doing things in a selfish way, looking for what my reward was going to be. And God knew what he was doing this whole time, because it took a very short time, and I started realizing what you said. It started changing my life. The stuff I was feeling inside was changing me completely. And then it got to where I was like on 5 different committees, and I was doing this, and I was hurting for money. However, that was still my passion, right? It was just to get out there and help as many individuals. And it wasn't what could Al get out of it anymore. It was what can I do to help this other individual, not even realizing I was being molded this whole flipping time. And I've had people on my show, of quite a few of them, that have come on and said, yeah, my new high is getting out there and volunteering and helping as many people as I can. I don't need a drug anymore, right? I get such a high that I never ever got out of any drug or alcohol or any other type of addiction than I get out of helping other individuals. And again, this is what I believe. Okay, that's got to get where that my version of it is. That's what more of us need to do, because it comes out of love, and love changes this world completely. It changes all of us when we have that inside of us.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. I have memories of we're doing another Coats for Christmas drive, and man, just taking coats to the homeless shelter and drop just things like that, man. There is just seriously nothing better to that feeling, that high to do things like that and help people. It just feels so good, you know? And so yeah, I just love that, and I'm trying to get more and more of a position to where the stress, the financial stresses and things of starting a facility and doing all that. I mean, that was rough for quite a few years there, not knowing how we're going to pay payroll and how we're going to survive. And any day felt like it could be the last day, just sort of going down the path. The train's on the track now. We're moving, like whether I want it to move or not, like it's moving. But any day it could tip over and crash and burn. But it just feels so different now to be able to have some peace, create some more balance. And I started I joined a group, Power Minds group called Warrior Sage. Hopefully some of those CEOs will be able to watch this, but just a really, really powerful group. The Satyan guy that leads the group with Vince, they're just a powerful, powerful group, and a couple individuals that really help business owners become better leaders, better people, and a lot of it's inner work. And so a lot of meditative, mindful work that I've been blessed. Again, it's just one of those things where I don't know how I got introduced to him. I really like just somebody who knew somebody. They just kept talking, saying like this group's going to help you. This group's going to help you. They're a powerful group, and I just thought it was like a money thing because you do have to spend some money to be a part of it. So I kind of thought it was a money thing. And it for sure is not. And the things that have happened after each session I have with them is unbelievable. And it just brings so much gratitude. And they're so powerful. I had no idea the influence and the power that they had around the world, and I'm just so lucky to be a part of that group now. And so that's one big thing that's changed my life in the last little while too that I'm excited about.
Yeah. Well, when you're on the right track and you're doing the right thing, again, it goes back to where God's going to bless us, right? As long as our heart is pure, it's just going to happen. Because there's times I've gone back in the past 15 years where, I mean, gosh, there was weeks I just lived off of top ramen noodles. I mean, seriously, top ramen noodles was my breakfast, lunch, and my dinner. And there was times when people just gave me money when I was really in need of it. And there was times I'd come home and find boxes of food on my front doorstep, not knowing where it was coming from, and gosh, I had a gentleman back east that knew me from social media. I had no money for Christmas for my grandkids, and as a grandparent, that hurts. I called my daughter up just crying, saying, I have zero, nothing to buy the grandkids anything. They're like, she's like, Dad, it's okay, right? It's not about, we're teaching our kids Christmas is not about getting the gifts. It's about giving, and they'll understand. And still, I appreciate that, but it was still hurting inside. And next thing I know, this guy reaches out to me and he says, Hey, I sent you something. I hope you like it. And a few days later, I get this envelope and I open it up and there's another envelope, and I open it up and there's another envelope. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And I open it up and he sent me $700.
Wow.
And that guy disappeared after this. He literally disappeared. I had really no idea who this guy was other than us talking a couple times in social media, and it paid a bill and it bought Christmas for the grandkids, and see, I get emotional even thinking about it. It brought so many more things together, so many more things together. So it takes a lot of us.
Takes a village.
It takes a village to get to where we want to go. And again, as long as our heart is pure, and it's been so long, since you was on the show, Jordan. I was even trying to remember how the heck you and I met. I don't even know if we were introduced by somebody else that was on the show, or what. Maybe you can. However, I'm not able.
I don't know. That's another one of those things like it's divine intervention probably somehow because I don't remember. I truly don't remember how we got connected, but I was glad to be on your show before and grateful to be back again and hope to be on, in the future as well. And I wanted to share too, it's so cool, so grateful again. This year we were able to do three sub for Santa families as a business with Diamond Detox, and it was just I love it. It's the best, a military serviceman, a flight mechanic. I just met him looking to buy a truck for one of the operations we're trying to do up north, and we just went on a drive and talked for a little while, and like I had him over for dinner. We're doing sub for Santa. We did sub for Santa. Just random things like that. It's just so cool. I love the season from November. The gratitude part of Thanksgiving just puts a good energy in the air. And I know there's stressful times during the holidays, and I hear people talking about how stressful they are, and it makes me sad kind of because I'm like, man, when there's a Christmas tree and there's that light, and we have the gratitude of Thanksgiving and the giving and all the things that come with this time of year, it just makes me beam, and I love it so much. So I hope people can try not to stress too much about the holidays and the gifts that need to be bought and all that. I, if anybody wants to is stressed about giving their kids gifts, I came from a family that really like my dad is the most selfless, just hardworking, good dude, and he worked his butt off and still in his older age still works more and works harder than I do. And having seven kids, he did his best, and so we had Christmas and we were well taken care of but not a lot of presents, right? And I still had those days where I was jealous of other kids' Christmases and stuff. But I'm so grateful I didn't get a lot of presents. Like if I'm glad I wasn't spoiled. I'm glad I didn't have to have that because I did get to experience what the real meaning of Christmas was. And I think it made me better. So if any parents are out there struggling, thinking about not being able to give their kids enough, like it'll be better for them. Trust me, it will be. And so just grateful for that as well.
You know, our family, we had a tradition every year. My two daughters, the grandkids, my son-in-law, we would go up to the temple and go walk and check out the lights. And we went the very last year before they shut it down to do all the construction. And my daughter called me up. She goes, Dad, we're going to do a new tradition. I'm going to go out and buy a bunch of $5 McDonald gift cards, and we're going to go out. And a lot of times when you come outside the temple, there's a lot of unsheltered people, and we're going to pass these gift cards out. Because again, she says, we want our kids to understand that it's about giving, not receiving. And I get emotional telling this story. It was raining that day, and there was only one homeless person or one unsheltered person there, and my son-in-law gave this little gift card to my oldest granddaughter, and she went up and gave it to this gentleman, and he was very, very grateful. And so we all jumped in our vehicle, and we're like, okay, we know where to go, where we can find more. And we drove down the road a little bit, and we saw a bunch of them sitting on the side of the road trying to stay out of the rain, and they got their blankets, they're trying to stay warm. And my son-in-law goes, everyone stay here, just Lainey and I are going. And Lainey is my oldest granddaughter. And they took off, and they were gone 10, 15 minutes, and they come back in. Whew, this is where I get emotional. And my granddaughter comes in and she sits next to me, and she's getting her wet clothes off, her wet jacket, and we're trying to get some other dry stuff on her. And I'm like, how was it? And she immediately started crying. And she goes, everyone was so nice. I don't understand why they don't have a home. because they're so nice. Everyone said thank you. And she was trying to figure this out. And she's a teenager now. However, she didn't, I can't remember. I don't know how long ago, when is it when the temple shut down? 3, 4 years ago or whatever it may be. And so all of us as parents and grandparents were trying to explain this. And all of us are in this vehicle just freaking with tears running down our face because it was so touching, and again, that movement with you doing the coat drive, and that my daughter has a friend who was working with the road home and stuff, and she reached out and she goes, look, a lot of these individuals don't have coats and it's very, very cold outside. And my daughter calls me and says, Dad, we need coats. My friend's trying to find coats. It's like, all right. So I put a post out there on my social media, and I had people going, what kind of coats do you need? I've got coats. Everyone, all these people are reaching out. My friends, Shane and Kathy Hughes, that live in Harriman, Shane gets a hold of me, calls me up, and he goes, how many do you need? And I'm like, I don't know, as many as you can get. When do you need them by? And I told him, and he says, done. He says, I bet you I'll gather over 100. And I'm like, okay. He goes, I'm going to start reaching out to my peeps. Sure enough, a week ago, I had him drop them off at my mom's house, well over 100 coats. I just dropped them off to my daughter last night after my granddaughter's dance performance. And my daughter's like, is that all, Dad? I'm like, no, there's more. And I keep pulling stuff out of my truck, bag after bag after bag. And she was like, oh my gosh, my friend is just going to love this. And what you just said a little bit ago, Jordan, about what it does to you inside, how it changes our life. And we're not going to know who these coats are going to help. However, we know it's helping someone, and that's all that matters. So I tip my hat off to all you guys that are doing that. And a lot of the other recovery centers, I know that Tosa and Red Barn, they do a lot of angel trees and things like that. And that means a lot to the community.
For sure. And I'll give the other side shout out too. So North Star is a group that I've been collaborating with Jay, and I think they did participate in that coat drive. And I'm hopeful to do some more work with them. I think the North Star group is really trying to make a name in this recovery community of quality and support to this industry. And so you may see their name a little more in the near future, but I was glad to hear that they did that as well. And kudos to the other side. Know that you are connected with them and they do a lot of good work. And so yeah, just it's all good things. Love doing that. I'm kind of a unique duck where I want to go give it to people. Like when I give, I sometimes I want to give to charity. I'll give to the primary children's things and different things sometimes. But I know like with a lot of the systems, a lot of the money you give goes to salaries and other things, it doesn't go straight to the people. And so I'm that weird where like I'll go take it to the homeless shelter and I will give that and so I can see the joy and the gratitude and that just it's a whole different feeling, when I give to the homeless or give to people, I love to be a part of it in the moment to know it goes straight from me to them or from our organization to them. I just love that so much. It's just my favorite part. So
Maybe that's something for us to think about for next year. Maybe we can collaborate and join together and see what we can come up with to go out there because this is something that the Other Side of Addiction podcast really hasn't done a lot in the past. And really wanting to do more of that is giving out more. And you know, I don't make any money off of doing this podcast. I do this podcast just because I want to do this podcast. And maybe down the road, God will bless me and then maybe monetize will come. However, that's not the main purpose of it. The main purpose of it is to get out there, allow people to use their voice to make a change because I do feel that's very, very important. But I don't know, something to think about. And as far as North Star, I'd love to have them come on as well to help them get their name out there some more if they're interested. So you've got a lot of stuff. I want to be able to give you some time to talk about all this stuff that you're doing. So you're getting ready to start a nonprofit, or you do have a nonprofit called Helping People, and
yeah,
then also this Recovery Ridge.
Yeah, so the few projects we're working on now, so Helping People was created a few years ago. I'm reinstating it with the nonprofit status, the 501 status. I wanted to do that for multiple reasons. It will help the community center up north, but also to help with the research, education, and prevention. I kind of vowed to myself I wouldn't do residential, I wouldn't do a few different things until I could do it the way that I think it needs to be done. And do it the way I think it needs to be done, it needs some financial support, and it needs to have the research behind it to prove some better ways to do treatment. And so that will come with that. And it's interesting. I've noticed that like when I'm trying to create something and there's opposition at every turn, and it's really hard because like setting up a business entity is something I've done 50 times. Like I've created a business entity, and the fact that this nonprofit has been so cumbersome to do, it just tells me that there's some opposing energy that knows how much good it will do, and I will persevere. It will happen. And so it's so close again to being reinstated and getting ready to do the good it's going to do. So super excited about that. We're also so we put an offer on the lot next door to our detox. We'll be doing a specialty hospital there right next and join that with our current detox there in Roy, which has been doing very well and helping a lot of people. And up here in Wellsville, where Rising Ridge was, the roof collapsed and it's been repaired. And our goal is we're right in the middle of finishing negotiations up there. We'll have a 70, 80 bed supportive living. It'll have a wing with clinical services, a wing with medical services so they can have, medication management and titrations and things of that nature. CPSS and case management supports. And it'll also have jobs and give job supports to those who need it, and transportation up and down the canyon, 15, 20 minutes each direction. And a lot of cool stuff. I mean, it's got basketball courts and the trails and all the things that people need to have hobbies and connect. And then it's got the community center in the basement that has a theater room, gaming room, laundromat, and then right attached to that is the restaurant. That's just a freaking awesome, beautiful restaurant that kind of suffices my full circle dream of creating a sober bar, sober cafe. And so. I'm just so excited, even at the potential of it. It's like I probably shouldn't even be talking about it yet until it's like done and done. But I put so much time and effort into it. There's so many people involved. If it doesn't happen there, it'll happen. But but it's so close, and we're just excited to create that community center where people can connect, have healthy nutrition, have safe housing, and have those clinical and medical supportive services. Because when people get out of residential, jail, or on the streets, they need housing. They need long-term housing and support. And so that's what we want to offer. I tell a lot of people that have known me for a while know how important that 1 year mark is to me. From 30 days of treatment, 39 days of treatment is like 7% success rate to stay long-term in recovery. That's just not good enough. But statistically speaking, after a year, they can have up to 70% success rate long term. So that year is so important. And so if we can give people that support after they get out of residential or after they get out of jail to have somewhere else safe that they can live and they can have the food, all their hierarchy of needs met, was my goal. And my buddy Mike Keenan down in St. George, and when we met about this project, he's like, you need to create like a mini Vatican up there to have all their needs met in that one location. And I'm like, okay, that's what I'll do. I'll create that. And so that's the plan, and we've done a good job to put it together, and the whiteboard's almost fully coming to fruition. So I'm excited about it.
Good for you, man. I'm so happy for you. It's cool to hear this because my friend Jessica Endicott and I, when we first met, we actually talked about this, and she's all into the amino acid therapy and the coaching, and she's the owner of Collective Hearts, the owner and the founder, and she's a huge advocate of amino acid therapy, right? How much it changes and helps the brain and the neurons fire. And we've even talked about doing a different type of sober living that's a healthier, because there's things that, again, my version of it's not working. It's helped people in the past. It's helped hundreds, if not thousands of people. However, there's so much new technology nowadays
Mhm.
that talks about how to help the brain
Mhm.
become healthier, right? Whether it's therapeutic community, whether it's the amino acid therapy and different things, proper nutrition that really helps in the recovery process, which has never been a part of the recovery process as long as much as I know, right? And I've not been in the recovery community as long as you have and other individuals. But we were talking about how cool it would be to bring all this stuff together. And with everything that you're talking about,
Yeah.
me is a freaking change. It's a change breaker. I mean, seriously, it is. It's something that has been needing to happen for a long time. And I'm happy to hear that you actually saw it as well, and you're moving forward. You're making it happen. So
I was
good
going to
on
say,
your part,
you don't
man.
have enough time. Did you want to start neurochemistry and brain science and addiction? We don't have time for that today because I will go off on that. That is my jam, and I freaking love it. So we can schedule some other time to go into that more. The last time I was on your show, we actually did talk about that. I think a little bit
A little,
more
yeah, just a little bit, yeah.
in the amino acid protocols, things that I studied for a long time and believe in heavily. But nutrition, the microbiome, the brain chemistry are critical. The DNA testing, and it's so weird to me that like I've been talking about this for 7 years, 8 years, and still have not created like a full program that is getting it out to so many people. Diamond Tree, I did it in a small little way in Kaysville, Utah, and we helped a lot of people. And to see how many lives were changed and their health just like completely transformed. The people who saw it and that were there, they know what I'm talking about. And so, yeah, like I said, I still have a dream to bring that back and do that in a bigger way. I just needed to pivot for a minute, go help the front end where I thought the need was greatest on the front end of detox because there just wasn't enough good detox being done in the region, and I wanted to make sure we did that really well. So we've tried to perfect that, and then the back end, there's a big gap on the back end of recovery, and so we're going to try to solve that. And then I'll try to bring it full circle again, to offer more of those healing services, the preventative services with the DNA testing and the research and the education, and then have the healing with the microbiome, nutrition, brain science, all that stuff. So, I guess stay tuned. Hopefully I can pull it off. I'm pretty driven to do it. So as long as I'm alive and kicking, I should hopefully bring it all the way around. So
Well, knowing you, I'm sure that you will. I've got, yeah, I got the confidence in that you'll make it happen because again, you got the passion, you got the drive, it's your why, right? It's just going to happen. And with what you said just a little bit ago about the opposition doing everything it can to hold you back, that is the true sign you're going somewhere that they don't want you to go, right? And so you have to keep just pushing and plowing through and it'll happen. And anything I can do on my end, I'd love to connect you with Jessica. She does a podcast as well, and it's about brain health and nutrition. Help hopefully get your stuff out there some more. They have a pretty good following, so I'd love to connect you with them. They'd probably love to have you as a guest on their show. And they do their show live. So I think that would be a really good connection for you. And
always open to new connections, new collaborations. That's what I've always loved to do. I can learn from everybody. I love learning from everybody. I love connecting with everybody and seeing what I can do for them. And it's people that know me. It's funny. I've had people even mock it because it's actually become a tagline of mine, the people helping people. And some people like have mocked it before, and like I'm sticking to it. Like it's what makes the world go round to me is people helping people, and that's to my core. I don't see that ever changing. That is what it is to me. That's what the world's about. That's my purpose is to create a people helping people culture. And yeah, so anyone you want to connect me with that cares and it's passionate about helping people, I'm all about it.
yeah, I would love to. I'd love to connect you too with Dave and Susan Kenny out of Canada. I can shoot you there. I can do an introduction email with those two individuals too. They are just amazing. They reached out to me, well, their assistant did, and saw my show, and they asked to come on as guests. And again, it goes back to how God places certain people in your life to help you along your journey. And we connected very, very quickly. We chatted probably 20 minutes to a half hour after the show, and they wanted to talk some more. A week later, we were talking some more on a Zoom call, and then I actually had them come back on the show again a couple of weeks later, and we just kept connecting. And next thing I knew, they offered me some training, and I loved the whole concept of the brain first approach
I love that.
because
I've never heard that, but I'm a fan.
yeah, brain first approach, and it was something that I saw after probably about the fifth or sixth recovery center that my ex-wife went through, right? And I remember her public defender calling me and going, "Man, if she doesn't get her act together, she's getting close to going to prison because they're sick and tired of watching her come through the system." And I'm like, "That's not going to help her." And he's like, "Well, what do you suggest?" I'm like, "Somebody has to get inside her head. That's what's causing her to continuously go back to what she's going back to. There's something in there that she's not releasing that's pulling her back." And when I was offered this training, oh my gosh, it was like, holy cow, this is it. I love it, right? I watched one of their videos, and I was like, I'm dead set in it. And it's crazy because ever since then, people have been coming into my life that know more about the neuroplasticity and how the brain fires and all this other stuff. I'm like, my gosh, this is amazing.
It really is. And it's wild to me that we've gone this long without really doing it in this industry because to me it's like there is that reward deficiency syndrome going on. We have an imbalance or a shortage in certain neurochemicals, synapses, etc. And it is like the number one driving physiological force to our addiction and our craving. And so, like, if we don't solve that, we're going to be fighting an uphill battle the entire time. And like I said, with connection, with accountability, with some support, with AA, with these things, like people can recover,
Yeah.
people can do well, but they could probably do it with a little more ease if we could just get them a little bit of the right nutrition and get that to stop yelling at them in their brain because it's deficient. It might make it a little easier. So why don't we just try that? Throw that in there. It's certainly not going to hurt. So
Yeah. Yeah, amen to that. Not saying that the old way didn't work because it has helped, right? You and I both know that. It's helped a lot of people. However, it's not helped enough.
Mhm.
It's not, I don't understand. And again, I know it's about choice. I do get that. And I understand there's certain things like insurance companies and that really stick their fingers in it that allow certain individuals not to go as far as they need to go. However, the system's not working the way it needs to work.
Mhm.
There has to be something new and different out there. And facilities like TOSA, Red Barn, and like how you're putting all this together. And I'm not saying that just because you're a guest on my show. I'm saying it because it comes from my heart because I do really seriously, this is the new future of recovery. That's the direction it needs to go because this other way of going into a recovery center and telling people you're going to relapse. That's
Yeah.
giving them an excuse to relapse and also putting them down, which,
7% success rate, right?
yeah,
That's
7%.
so we're helping a lot. 7% of the population is still a lot of people, but it's not nearly what it could or should be.
Yep. Amen. Amen to that. I mean, yeah, I know someone that just got kicked out of a place, and I really struggle with it. I am really starting to struggle with it. I'm going to do a show on it. I'm just waiting for somebody who just left the industry because of that, who was sick and tired of seeing what word am I looking for? It's like they find a person to pick on, targeting. There's targeting and all kinds of different stuff in some of these places. And this individual was tired of seeing it and he left it. He's like, this is not what this is supposed to be about. This is supposed to be about helping as many individuals as possible. And so he's like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore because he didn't want to be a part of it.
I remember hearing about you say that at the beginning when we were chatting for a minute, and those who were there with me at the beginning or have been with me at all know that, it was a challenge for sure. And I wasn't very business smart per se. Maybe some of my investors questioned me for a little while because I didn't play the insurance game. I did not when they were, 15, 22 days in and they would cut them off and say that, they're good to go. And I'm like, no, they're not. They're just starting to make some good change here. I'd have one conversation. Are you committed? If you're committed, I will scholarship the remainder if you'll finish this out strong. So you don't have to worry about the finances of them not covering it. And that's how I've always been. I don't mess around with that. If they're willing to try, let's meet them where they're at. Let's get a way to move them through. And like I said, that's karma is the most real thing in the world to me, in the universe to me, and so hopefully those things that I did early on to just do the right things for the right reasons will have an impact and hopefully balance out some of the things I've done wrong. I mean, I've had plenty of mistakes, made plenty of mistakes through my entire life, and I'm far from perfect, and I'm hopeful that I can do more good than I've done bad in the world. And I hope I leave a legacy behind of truly people helping people. And then I'm remembered for genuinely caring about people and wanting to give a pure heart towards helping people be of service in some way to people. So,
Yeah. Well, and it's just what Thurl said earlier, right? Same thing. It's not really the legacy of his basketball career, right? It's the legacy of what can he do to help other individuals. And to me, I think that's one of the best legacies you can leave behind. I mean, that's my grandkids have been really the drive towards my growth. I did not want my grandkids to have someone come up to them that knew me and go, "Oh yeah, your papa was a liar and a manipulator." I'd rather have them come up and say, "My gosh, your papa did so many amazing things and helped so many individuals." Because that's what my daughter and her husband are teaching those kids, right? And yeah, it changes our lives. It changes our lives in so many different ways. We're doing our best to change other people's lives, but in all reality, it's changing ours more than I think it's changing them.
yep, win-wins, man. I like those.
Win-win.
No, win-win. If I could have those two things on my tombstone, I'd be very happy. I'd be happy camper laying in that tombstone. So yeah, I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate all you do. I've always appreciated watching your show and having me on early on and here now. Let me know if I can do anything for you as well. I'm excited to see you continue to grow. I know you come from just a genuine place of caring and trying to just do good and make good social changes. And I see it, I feel it, and I believe in you, and I just appreciate you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for your kind words, and I appreciate you too. And thank you for your time. And is there any last words you'd like to share with our listeners? Any um
Oh,
gosh, what word am I looking for? Some words of inspiration.
oh, words of inspiration, man. You know, I, I feel the feeling. I'm like trying to go back to my warrior sage mode where they like really make us go inside for a minute, not rush the answer, but um I really think that something around the depression and suicide thing is just hitting me, having a little emotional moment here. Not only for my own children, but for other children out there too. And I do still have big plans for youth supportive services, but it never ceases to amaze me with my own kids or other kids or my own personal life when days are just really hard. Just know the next day is a whole new perspective. Sleep does amazing things for the mind. Eating does amazing things for the mind. Going for a walk does amazing things for the mind. And just connecting to someone that you care about does amazing things. And those four things, if you're ever in a moment where you don't think you can survive it, you don't think you want to live another day, just try one of those four things. Have a bite to eat, take a nap, call somebody, go for a walk. And it's amazing what one of those things can do to just shift your perspective and there's so many beautiful things on the other side of those hard times. And so I don't know why I said that, but that's my message. Doesn't have anything to do with our topic today, but it felt appropriate. So there you go.
That's all right. That's what I love about this show. It's raw and whatever comes out, that which tells me that's exactly how it was supposed to go. The message is the message. And yeah, that's the way it's supposed to go. So, Jordan, again, man, thank you for all that you're doing. Thank you for going out there and wanting to see a difference, right? And make a change and see where things can become better, and all that you're doing out there to help just other individuals who, whether they're just starting their journey or whether they've been in it for a period of time. And just for all the love that you give out there to so many people, because we talked about this at the beginning of the show, how much love can change things, and we need more of that out there, because we can make a whole different world a better world if we share more of that. So thank you for everything that I have. So thank you for what you're doing. I really appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Got a lot of love. I'm gonna keep giving it as much as I can. So have a Merry Christmas to you, your family, anyone close to you, and Happy New Year, and hope to talk soon, brother.
Okay. Well, Merry Christmas to you too. Thank you, people, for all you listeners, all our supporters. And I also want to say, hey, thank you to White Tree, which I forgot to mention. White Tree Medical out of Sandy is actually coming in as one of our new sponsors. So you're going to hear me start mentioning them a little bit more between the shows, or the beginning of the show and in between. So thank you guys for wanting to be a part of this and help us make a change as well. Thank you again to all you listeners for making this happen. You guys are the ones that's making this a success. We're going to leave you with this, as we do at the end of every show. Remember, addiction is giving up everything for one thing, and recovery is giving up one thing for everything. We're out.